Greetings, my scattered brothers and sisters in the Lord. Trust you know the Lord is with you wherever you find yourself scattered today, and that you know that his presence with you is more than enough for whatever you might face today. Well, we are with Jesus in Mark chapter 14. Jesus has just celebrated the Passover meal with his disciples. He's instituted what we know as the Lord's Supper, and he's also announced to his disciples that they're all going to fall away. And of course, Peter boldly says that he is going to even die for Jesus. And Jesus told Peter, no, you won't, that before the rooster crows twice, you'll disown me 3 times tonight. And Peter insists, as well as all the other disciples, that he will lay down his life for Jesus. That's where we're picking it up. Jesus takes the disciples with him to go pray, and he especially takes Peter, James, and John. So we are at Mark chapter 14, beginning at verse 32. And they went to a place called Gethsemane, and Jesus said to his disciples, sit here while I pray. And he took with him Peter and James and John, and began to be greatly distressed and troubled. Jesus said to them, my soul is very sorrowful, even to death. Remain here and watch. And going a little further, he fell on the ground and prayed that, if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. And Jesus said, Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Remove this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will. And he came and found them sleeping, and he said to Peter, Simon, are you asleep? Could you not watch 1 hour? Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. And again Jesus went away and prayed, saying the same words. And again he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were very heavy, and they did not know what to answer him. And he came the 3rd time and said to them, are you still sleeping and taking your rest? It is enough, the hour has come. The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand. So this is what I want us to take note of, that Jesus prayed to God, if possible, Father, Abba, if possible, take this cup from me. Yet not what I will, but your will be done. And he repeats those words a 2nd time, and we're told that he prays a 3rd time. And so Jesus is deep in distress in prayer, and his disciples, who said that they, would lay down their life for Jesus, well, they're laying down, they're sound asleep, and Jesus has to keep awaking them. Now, we know that Jesus went through hard things. Obviously, the cross, incredibly difficult, hard beyond imagination. We know that Jesus faced a lot of opposition, Pharisees, teachers of the law, all kinds of opposition, his own people not believing in him, and his disciples being slow to grasp who he is, and then even slower to grasp the message that he's going to the cross to die for them. And so Jesus faced hard things. What I'm not sure we always recognize is that Jesus faced hard decisions. And what we're seeing here is Jesus facing the hardest of decisions. Not my will, but your will be done, Father. And Jesus had to pray through that. It was not an easy decision. It was not a decision that he was inclined to make, so to speak. It was hard. He was sorrowful, even unto death. Luke tells us that he sweat, and it was like he was sweating blood. And he prays 3 times that, if possible, Lord, if possible, Father, figure out a different way. Take this from me. And yet, every time he came to that place, not my will, but your will be done. Jesus had to pray through the hard decision of doing the Father's will instead of doing his own will. Had to pray through the hard decision of doing the Father's will rather than taking the easy way out. So I actually find that pretty encouraging. And he had to pray through that and make that hard decision while the guys that he counted on the most, they were sleeping. They said they would do a lot, but they couldn't stay awake. And Jesus made the hard decision, not my will, but your will be done. He prayed through it, trusting the Father to do the Father's will. That's good news for you and me, because that means because Jesus made that hard decision, he empowers us to make hard decisions, to do the Father's will. And sure enough, later on in life, James, Peter, John, they're all going to make hard decisions. They're all going to do the Father's will. They couldn't stay awake that night, but because of what Jesus did, they will be empowered to make hard decisions. James will die for Christ. Peter will die for Christ. And John, we don't read about how he died for Christ in terms of being executed, but he lived into old age, and he ministered, and he was exiled, and he faced hard decisions, and he was empowered to make those hard decisions. So that Jesus went through this hard decision, that's good news for you and me as we face hard decisions, and especially as we face hard decisions to do the Father's will. Because Jesus prayed it and lived it, we can pray it and live it. Not my will, but your will be done, Father. I don't know where you find yourself scattered today. I don't know what hard decisions are in front of you, especially hard decisions of doing God's will instead of taking the easy way out and maybe just doing your own thing. But the way to do hard things, the way to make those hard decisions is to pray. And Jesus, as you prayed, not to do your will, but to do the Father's will. And as you did the Father's will, give me the grace, give me the strength to not do my own thing, to not do my own will, to not simply take the easy way, but to pray like you prayed and to do like you did. And because Jesus did it, we can do it. We can do the hard thing. We can do the Father's will, not by our own strength, but by his grace and by his power. And so we pray, not my will be done, but your will be done. God bless. Have a great day. Wherever you find yourself scattered, whatever hard decision is in front of you, pray like Jesus prayed, and you'll discover that Jesus gives you the power to do the Father's will. God bless.